In this video, I'm going to talk about aligning with the things that we resist. I think it's very common for us to resist all kinds of things in our life. We might resist certain work, certain dynamics in relationships, and first and foremost, I think we resist different bad feelings that we have. We might question certain emotions, and so it's natural to resist these things. So I want to explore how we can work with this so that perhaps we can change our orientation to it and change our relationship with these things that we're resisting. So, what are a couple examples? I'll start with emotions because I think that's the easiest one to deal with separate from behavior. If a disagreement comes up with a colleague, it may seem like we're resisting the colleague, but we're also resisting the feelings in relationship to that. We might be resisting conflict, anger, or we might actually be resisting the circumstance that we fear might come up. Maybe we fear a lack of control if somebody else gets their way. Now, unfortunately, resisting doesn't really work that well. I would be all for it if I felt like it worked. One thing I've come to realize in practicing Aikido is that, resisting somebody usually leads to more difficulty. Instead, if I can align with, their movement, I have a better chance of actually maneuvering in this situation and coming out safely. And hopefully the other person is safe as well. Now, it's natural to resist unsavory emotions. Unsavory emotions don't feel good, right? Feeling angry doesn't feel good. I would say feeling sad, feeling lonely, jealous, all these things, they don't feel good. So it's counterintuitive to say, well, let's not resist it. But there's logic to this. If we can learn to welcome those feelings, I think a couple things happen. One is we can realize that we survive actually. Emotions are sensations. They're not necessarily life-threatening, although I will say that if you experience anger or tension on a regular basis, we all know that that can have a detrimental effect to our health. So I'm not saying do these things on a more regular basis. What I'm saying is begin to get familiar with the feeling, sit with it, and in doing so, you may begin to transform those emotions. When you get to the point where anger doesn't freak you out anymore, then it can flow through you and you can move on to other feelings. You can move back to feeling a sense of calm or equilibrium in some way. And this really applies with any emotion that you're experiencing. What I notice in my own experience and in coaching people is that very often when one of these feelings comes up, we're trying to get away from it. So there's a push-pull that happens. It's like, oh, I'm feeling anxious. I don't want to feel anxious. So I run away. And unfortunately, that doesn't allow us to process the emotion. Now, let's shift to actual behaviors or interactions. I think when we have conflict at work or anywhere, it's easy to want to resist whatever the other person is bringing. What I suggest, and one thing I've talked about a lot is it possible to align with the idea of their intention versus whatever they're proposing? So let's say somebody is really angry with me. It may seem counterintuitive for me to align with that. But if I get curious and wonder, okay, why are they angry? What are they trying to do? Why is this important with them? I might at least be able to appreciate what they're doing and align with their intention without aligning with their particular proposal or whatever they're trying to get. The same thing is true in the political environment. I hate talking about politics. I'll be quick about it, but in this polarized political environment, it's so easy to get angry with people who have a different perspective. And it seems like our life depends on it, right? I mean, this is important stuff, and it is. However, what I notice is if we can't align at least with their intention, then there's no way that we can actually have a productive conversation about these things. Most conversations, at least in my experience, devolve into bickering. Like there's no real sharing of perspective. But instead, if I get curious again, like, wow, how is it that this person would have this view? What is it they're trying to do? And if I can align again with their intention, then perhaps I can start to listen to the things they're saying through a different sentiment and through a different perspective. Now, I want to say aligning with their intention in no way means that I'm condoning their behavior or what they're proposing. I'm just appreciating and aligning with the impetus of what they're trying to do. And I may or may not be able to get closer to them ideologically, but at least I can appreciate them as a person and what they're trying to do in the world. So I would say the common theme is, can you welcome things versus resist them? Now, for me, I like to look at resistance as sort of an alarm. It's a road sign. It lets me know, okay, there's something to work with here. And then when I feel myself resisting an emotion, resisting another person, etc., I can begin to ask, okay, how can I still have my center, but relax a little bit, get curious about what's there, see if there's an intention to align with. And if it's an emotion, just allow myself to experience the sensation of it, sit with it, welcome it. And like I said, in many cases, this can begin to transform those feelings over time. So I'm just scratching the surface here, but I hope this has been useful in terms of giving you some options of what you can do rather than just habitually resist circumstances. So until next time.